Ramayanam is an Adi Kavyam, as I was mentioning in the last class itself. And it is an epic which is studded with principles to life. As I was telling, Mahabharatam is an epic which says what happens when you try it out. The emphasis is more on what happens when you try it out differently, where will you land. So that's why it has that richness. Whereas Ramayanam as an epic tells how we have to be. Here also there are ideas of what happens if you don't, but overwhelmingly, dominantly, Ramayanam tells, is there a way to live? Are there priorities in life? How do we adhere to it? That is the charm of Ramayanam. This Maryada Purusha Rama and all characters bring wonderful messages which are very useful for our living. That is why this is much more celebrated, very relatively speaking. Both are very important because Mahabharata is a Panchama Veda. Still, you find this is pervading so much because it tells how do we conduct life. What are a few things that we need to really think about. Of course, it also demonstrates the consequences of what will happen if we don't. That's there. It's much more there. It is there here also, but you will find a lot more of that in Mahabharata. And the greatness of Valmiki is he has brought lots of life principles, but we will not see it just like that. By reading shlokas and the story, it doesn't come. I want to demonstrate it today. I want to give you the flair of that, which in our own ways we will see as we go along. But if only we know how to go one step below and look at the sukshma of what Valmiki says, you will find very good, very, very important principles in life. So today I will demonstrate it with a character called Ravana. I am going to do that. Just to demonstrate, in order to do that, actually you have to get into all the 7 kandas to pick the shlokas, which I was able to read in lectures of Ramayana. That's why I wanted to re-paraphrase it and then show it to you that there lies the power of Valmiki. We will see that anyway today. But before that, imagine we have a very nice machine which also has a supercomputer. A versatile machine, suppose. It can do a lot of things. It has natural intelligence, not artificial intelligence. Think of a machine which is very powerful, which is very versatile in terms of what it can do. Think of a machine like that. Now, there are 2 things are required for us to use that machine. First and the most important thing that we require is an operating manual. Otherwise, it will take hundreds of years for me to find out. It is like without knowing what are the features in Excel or PowerPoint. If I start using PowerPoint, it will be 10 years before I know how to use it better. Simple. I am taking a very simple example. It's an apparatus in a soft form. So first you need for any machine to operate or any facility, I don't even call it as a machine. If you have any facility given to you, first thing you need is an operations manual is required, because that will tell you this is what it can do, this is what it cannot do, this is what it is, this is what it is. It tells all that. So you need a good operations manual requirement, first requirement. And there's a second thing which will also make use of that machine much better. And that is called a troubleshooting. Even if you buy a small phone, they will give you a manual. Last 4 pages, there will be a troubleshooting mechanism. Phone is not working. See whether the wire is connected. There will be some simple steps. We need a troubleshooting mechanism. One, we need an operations manual. Only then we know how to use. 2, we need a troubleshooting mechanism because sometimes this machine doesn't work. It abruptly stops, sound is not coming, the machine is not blinking and smiling. So many things can happen. So we need to know how to troubleshoot it. So the better the troubleshooting guide and the better the operations manual. So there are three conditions. You need an operations manual, you need a troubleshooting guide. Thirdly, you should read it. You can't keep it in the puja and every day put 2 flowers to it. That is of no use. This machine will be of no use. Now you just replace this machine with human being. We also need, this is the greatest machine God has created ever. Most powerful machine you can ever imagine. Most complex, the most scientific, the most versatile is this machine called a human being. Jiva Rashi, of the Jiva Rashis, Manusyaha. The Jiva Rashi itself is the greatest creation of this God. In that, the human beings. So we need these two now. We need an operations manual and we need a troubleshooting guide. This is available in both the epics. This is exactly why the two epics are required. The two epics have, Ramayana has more of operations manual and Mahabharata has more of troubleshooting guide. Ramayana also has, I am saying dominantly, relatively speaking. That is why these two are very, very important. If every one of us have not looked at these two, we are wasting this apparatus and using it in the most, imagine this possibility. Without an operations manual, we are all started crawling one day, started walking, started speaking, sometimes speaking all wrong things. Slowly, we are constructing our own operations manual. Think about the possibility of an operations manual and a troubleshooting guide. That is what these two epics are. Honestly, that's what these two epics are. They lay out how to operate this, what to do and what not to do, how to do. They are all told so beautifully. Very rich, poetic. All that is, interwoven into it. There is drama, there is everything available there. But this is the essence of these two epics. So unless we see those two essence of these epics, we have not read the epics. It's not about, that's why I will not touch story at all. Story I may need wherever required only for the context of continuity only I will narrate the story little bit. We don't want the story, we want the operations manual which are buried. So that is what this whole epics is all about. And that is what it is. So let me now illustrate that with one example. Having said this, let me give an example to illustrate how Valmiki, but this is real signature of Valmiki. Valmiki, whenever he narrates the story, he brings beautifully something which is buried underneath. You have to fill it out. And you have to have a very analytical thinking to extract it out. But once you extract it, it's so beautiful. It comes out so well. So I will today demonstrate that. I will in a way run you through a character called Ravana. And the question that we have is, what do I do with this character called Ravana? So in TVs and movies, they will show Ravana who actually bursts into laughter, shouts, the big mustache, the 9 heads attached artificially on both sides, shouting at people. This is all what you will get if you look at serial. If you read Valmiki also, at the first level you may get only some of these. Let us see Valmiki in a different way. So I will take you through this Vyakti called Ravana. I have done it in Bhagavad Gita chapter 17. Those who attended may remember in my earlier, the long version I think, where I have actually used this example in Devasri Sampath. I actually used this for Asri Sampath. Same story I used because at that time I actually weaved all of them together. So let me show you, take you through this character called Ravana. And this was something which I was able to cull out from Srinivasa Shastri's lectures from Ramayana. When I read it, this came out so beautifully. So I made that framework out of that reading, which I did. So let's look at this character called Ravana and see what has this character called Ravana gone through. We have to really understand it, because there lies some beauty of Valmiki. So let us see that. We look at specialty of Valmiki by analyzing this character the way he has analyzed. So the first thing that you will see, I mean, these are all not in chronological order, huh? Because some shlokas are from Uttarakanda, some shlokas are from Balakanda, some shlokas not in Balakanda, Sundarakanda, Yuddhakanda, and Uttarakanda. These are the only three places, and of course in Aranyakanda, where he comes to the Janasthana. These are the only places you will see Ravana. In fact, in Valmiki Ramayanam, Ravana comes for 12 months. The character comes only for 12 months. Little bit ahead because of Janasthana. Beyond that, you don't find Ravana. In Ramayan, Valmiki Ramayan, 24,000 shlokas, you don't find. So now, so you have to view from others. So let us see what is happening. First thing that you infer is this character called Ravana is extraordinarily well read, well qualified, very good. There are many references, but I took this reference. This 111th Sarga in Uttarakhanda is when Mandodari comes when Ravana is killed to the battlefield. There she says, in that most of the shlokas are talking about the greatness of Rama, but there are a few shlokas which said, you know how you were? So I picked only those. She recalled, look at the shloka, it says, Indriyani purajitva jitan tribhuvanam toya. You overcome your senses and you overpowered the three bhuvanas, but you got succumbed to the senses. I mean, it follows. She says, why? She says in one of the shloka, Mandodari says, Sita cannot match me in beauty. Mandodari says that. Sita cannot match me in beauty, cannot match me in the pedigree from which I have come. Yet you succumb to the senses. That's what she says, Mandodari. But I pulled only on this sentence, on this part of the shloka to say, his early part of his life was, he was a person with, he was a great person of Vedic knowledge, well read, master of all knowledge. This is how this character starts, Ravana. Just look at what is happening. Okay? And what did he do? He made great efforts to get material riches. For example, how did he get this boon from Brahma? You know, every 1,000 years he did penance and then offered one of his head. So 9,000 years. In the 10,000th year, Brahma came. So, you know, don't immediately ask, can somebody live for 10,000 years? Is it possible to plug one, was a surgery? Indian text should never be read with the Western mind of analytical. You have to always look at the Sukshma, not the Stula. Stula is very uninteresting. It may look illogical, it may look all that. There is an art of reading Indian. The point it is saying, what is it saying by saying he did 1,000 years of penance and plugged one of his head and offered? That means he was the ultimate of Shraddha in what he wanted to achieve. That is the message there. That message is anecdotally told. That is our style. Westerners don't know it, so they will come and analyze the shloka and say, you know, it's a bunch of jokers. How can it be possible? And we have been trained in that education, so we also more or less slanting that. That is not the message here. Message is, look at his Shraddha. Look at the strength of his tapas. Chitta Indriyanam Ekagram is tapas. That is what is being communicated by this idea. So he offered one head in sacrifice. That's a story. 10,000 years of tapas. And look at what boon he got. Beautiful shloka. Because this is the final reason why he was destroyed. Look at this shloka. This comes in Uttarakanda. Look at these two shlokas. It says, Suparna Naga Yakshanam. It categorizes people. Suparna, Naga, Yaksha, Daitya, Danava, Rakshasa. Right? He says, these people should not kill me. By these people. These are more ferocious, more superpowered, extra capabilities than human beings. That's why he is listing that. He says, Suparna Naga Yakshanam, Daitya Danava Rakshasam, Avadyoham. I should not be killed. I should not be killed by any of these. Prajanam Adyaksha, which is Brahman. It is a Sambodhana. Hey, Prajanam Adyaksha, these people should not kill me. Devatanam cha Shashvata, also Devata. Devas. Shashvata, forever. Perennially, they should never be able to kill me. Look at the next sloka. This is where this man finally destroyed himself. What is he saying? Nahi chinta mama anyeshu. I am not bothered about others. Nahi chintya mama anyeshu pranishu amara pujita. Hey amara pujita. That is also a sambodhana for Brahman. One who is celebrated by immortals. Amara pujita. Trinabhuta. These are all like a blade of grass. This other category. Trinabhuta hi manye praninaha manushadaya. Manushya etal. Adi. Adi means dot. In Sanskrit, Adi means etal. So manushadaya. See, all these are useless fellows. I am not bothered. That's why Rama came as a manushya and killed him. Anyway, that story, the same sloka I am bringing later. But the point I am making, he has put enormous concentration, power, knowledge, vidya. This is the first stage of this character called Ravana. Develop strength, mental strength, knowledge, jnana, vijnana, sarvam. Develop a vast measure of greatness. This is the early stage of this character called Ravana. He had all kind of greatness you can ever imagine. Greatness in terms of virya, greatness in terms of Ishwaratva, bhava. He was able to conquer the three worlds. Great skills of managing people and resources. Commit the best resources he was a great administrator of sorts. Kind of sacrifices. You will see in Sundarakandam, 6th canto, you will see. 6th to 8th canto, you will see how Lanka was. Lot of art was flourishing. Dana, Veda, they were all happening in fear, of course. That Valmiki has not said that. Because it was too late for him to get destroyed. That is stage 5 I am talking. I am now in stage 1 actually. But still there is an indication. So he had developed extraordinary strength. But here is what we must understand. An extraordinary strength can sometimes also give us extraordinary ego. Yeah. That is the most important thing. If the extraordinary strength minus ego, he is a great personality. Extraordinary strength plus ego, you are going to destroy very soon. This is a life message we have to take from this character called Ravana. It's the first message. Lot of people, the moment they know many things, their ego goes several fold. Those people, I have seen such people in life. They have not gone too far in life. People are anxiously waiting for them to disappear. That's not the way to live. That's a very, very, very average living. So that's the first important message. Extraordinary strength, buy one, take one free, ego will come. We should know how to. This is a lesson that we have to take. It will come. We have to be very alert to it. Then we can become an extraordinary individual, which this character missed it. So along with extraordinary strength, he developed extraordinary ego. And somebody said ego means evict God out. Something like that. And Ravana's greatness, Valmiki was not at all misery. Beautiful description of Ravana's greatness. I have taken some shlokas just to give you a sense of what it is. See, in Hanuman never saw Ravana directly until in the 49th Sarga, where in Brahmastra, he got himself tied. And he said at that time, Valmiki says, let me look at this Ravaneshwara and go. Valmiki says in the 48th Sarga, I want to see him. See, he could have easily got himself absolved of Brahmastra. He said, let me go and see. I should test the strength of this place and go. Then he comes. First time he sees Ravana, that is in 49th Sarga, just 20 shlokas, 18 or 20 shlokas. There you see what he is saying. Brajamanam, he was shining. Prior to death he is talking. Even at the point of destruction he was shining. Brajamanam tato drishtva, on seeing this person who is radiating like anything, Hanuman Rakshasheshwaram, Rakshashanam Ishwaraha Ravanaha, tam drishtva, on seeing him, Hanuman was actually spellbound, according to Valmiki. Manasa chintayamasa. He was thinking in his mind. Tejasa tasya mohitaha. Some thoughts came in his mind. That is part 1 of the story. Part 2 of the story, he fell in love for the radiance of Ravana. Mohitaha. Tejasa mohitaha. What are we saying? Valmiki never compromised on the greatness aspect of Ravana, but he compromised on an aspect called goodness. That's the final message. I will come to that. Okay, what is he saying? Aho rupam, aho dhairyam, Aho Sattvam, Aho Dyutihi. Aho is an exclamatory sign. Oh, what a Rupam, what a Dhairyam this character is having. What a Sattvam. There is a potential Sattva there. That is clouded, unfortunately. Aho Sattvam, that is one meaning. Other meaning, Sattva is Sat is that existence. She is existential strength. That also we can take. Aho Dyutihi, this light. Dyutihi iti devaha. Dew is the root, it is shining. It is light. Aho Dyutihi. Aho Rakshasa Rajasya Sarva Lakshana Yuktata. He is embodiment of all Lakshana. In fact, I did not go to the next sloka. Next sloka is very interesting. 18th sloka, in which he says, then Hanuman says, what a poor fellow. If only he had dharma, he could have conquered all the three worlds. Now he is at the verge of destroying. This is what Valmiki brings. At every shloka, he brings a life principle. Without dharma, your riches have no meaning. Ihaloke api tasya arthaha nasti. Paraloke nischena arthaha nasti. Without dharma, life is not worthwhile. Valmiki stamps it 100 times, 1000 times in his Kavya in many ways. So immediately next shloka he says, poor chap. If only he had dharma, he would have been the Lord. Indra would not have been the Lord. He would have been the Lord. Is what Hanuman is saying. Valmiki is saying through Hanuman. But anyway, that is the point here is Hanuman's. Look at Yuddha Kanda. Rama is seeing for the first time Ravana face to face. Because Rama didn't go to the court. He met him only in the battlefield. No? He didn't go to the court. So what is he saying? You just see. Aho Deeptaha Mahateja Ravano Rakshaseshwaraha Adityeva Dushprekshaha Rashmi Bihi Bhati Ravana. He is shining like Aditya and Rashmi. Like the stars and sun he is shining. So Rama was also not wanting in celebrating this Vyakti per se. As such, this Vyakti is put on a pedestal for many of the characteristics that this Vyakti had. Right? Suvyaktam lakshayehi asya rupam tejas samavritam. That's what he says. His tejas and all those are well established. Very good. That's what Rama feels. Then he says, Deva Danava Viranam Vapuhu Naivam Vidam Bhaved. Even Deva and Danavas don't have a physical construct and a body which shines like him. So he puts him at that level. He says he's such a nice person, minus dharma. That we have to always add. That is understood. It's a footnote now. We don't have to keep saying again and again. Okay? He says, Yadrisham Rakshasendrasya Vapuhu Yeta Prakashate. How much it is shining? This Rakshasa's body is shining like anything. This is what Rama is saying. So, I have only taken a few shlokas. The point I am making is Valmiki was never found wanting in keeping Rama and Ravana on the same pedestal when it comes to element of greatness. But period, no comma after that. It's period. You take the chapter on goodness, it's a different story. But this Vyakti was great. Why was it great? That is stage one. It did tapas. It had all the knowledge. It had Indriya Nigraha. Everything it knew. It developed that strength. Then let us see what happens. Now we go to stage two. What happens to a person who develops a lot of strength and also has ego? What will happen to him? That's where is the path for destruction. So the ego is the one which will let you get into adharmic indulgence. That is the root cause. The ego that ahankara only will lead you to wrong things. Kama yesha krodha yesha rajogana samudbhava iti in Triti Adhyaye, Bhagavad Gita, 38 shloka Krishna replies. Anichanapi vashne baladeva niyojita. When Arjuna asked, he says Kama and Krodha, that comes only because of ahankara, ego. So this character is now shifting. Now it is getting to greatness but devoid of goodness. The goodness is out, going away. The ego is removing the goodness. That is a message we have to get from here. He started violating dharma. He lost control of all senses. Went on a rampage. Uttarakhanda has a lot of stories. How he was left, right, center raping ladies. You have to see it in Uttarakhanda. And all that are there in Yuddha Kanda and Uttarakhanda. I have some references, I'll show you. How this character is, I always say, wicked people destroy themselves. Nobody destroys them. They set the stage for themselves. Bad people set their own grave, dig their own grave. Although, in Vyavahara we may say somebody did this. He caused everything. You will see it very strongly in epics and Puranas. This story you will really see. You do bad things, you are actually planting, you are digging your grave brick by brick. That's what you will see in all these kavyas. So beautifully you will see. Okay? No dissent, only pleasing things are told. He could not listen to any. How much of advice in Yuddhakanda? How much of advice Maricha gave in Janasthana? Maricha in Balakanda is not the Maricha in Aranyakanda. The Maricha in Aranyakanda is a transformed. He knew Rama is the greatest Vyakti in the world. He surrendered and he happily died in the hands of Rama. You will see it if you read Valmiki. He was realized this is a great dharmic Vyakti. Let me die. I have again some shlokas I will bring. What Maricha told Ravana, it's there. I will get one or two samples. And go to any level to achieve what is desired. And how do you get all these? In Balakanda it is told, there are shlokas which say how the devas go and saying this fellow has gone beyond all possible limits. You go to Mahavishnu and say, you do something about it. Things have gone completely out of hands. And there is a shloka in Janasthana when Sita was lifted. Right? It's a beautiful shloka. The shloka says, Godavari did not flow. Winds did not blow. Now, don't ask, how can wind not blow? Godavari, how can it not run? That's not the point. Indian text must be read with the sukshma, which means it is the embodiment of fear that he has put. It said Maruti did not flow. Godavari became still. All trees became still. It's a dramatic way of communicating the message that this fellow was nothing but fear. That is the message there. Ravana was nothing but fear. In that process, he started destroying himself in a big way. Some examples from Ramayana. Ravana and Sita in Sundarakandam. Sundarakandam, 19th Sarga, when Ravana enters into Ashokavana and see in Simshupa Vriksha, Hanuman is sitting and seeing this. That time, last class also I mentioned, some 20 upamas Valmiki uses. Real powerful upamas to say how fearful this lady was on seeing the very sight of Ravana. Pravase, Katali, like that. Others, this only I remember very distinctly in my mind. Although I've been reading it, but somehow not in my mind. Some 20 upamas. But then in the next sarga, 20th sarga, she actually spits fire at Ravana. Very nicely she talks. One of the shloka. And Ravana, in fact, I'm not bringing that shloka, that we will see. See what Ravana is saying here. What a bad statement he is making. He says, Swadharmo rakshasam bhiru sarvataivana samshayah gamanam va parastrinam haranam sampramatyava. He says, this is our Swadharma of Rakshasas. What is that? Gamanam va parastrinam. We will go with other ladies. Or haranam. If they are not willing, we will abduct them, rape them and take them and go. How dare he makes a statement like that to Sita, of all people? This is what he is saying. And he is saying, Swadharmo rakshasam bhiru. You please understand, this is our way of living. So how much of this ahankar has gotten into his brain? You just see. A person who is a great exponent of Veda, has done tapas, has deteriorated and discounted himself to this level, where he is able to make a statement like this. That's what he said. Then then Sita replied, what is going on in this Lanka? She says, there are no good people here. There is nobody who can advise this fellow. Nobody can advise this fellow because he is not going to listen to anyone. That is the message there. He will not listen to anyone. He was not listening to Vibhishana. He was not listening to anyone. Malayaman said something, his uncle, he was not listening. Mandodari said something, he was not listening. He has reached that level. So he is asking, Iha santo navasanti. I doubt whether people are there or not there. Iha santaha navasanti. Are there no santas here in this city? Right? Na anuvartase. No, this man will not follow such good deeds. There are no people here to even show what is to be done. Tatahi viparita tu buddhihi achara varjita. His buddhi is so viparita. It is devoid of achara. Achara varjita. All these are, why is it happening like this? There are no good people to guide him. All these are indicating a character which developed a lot of moral strength, knowledge, and all that has deteriorated so much that it is nothing but adharma, embodiment of adharma. Time has come for this character to be destroyed. That's the message there that you see. And Hanuman's, the same sarga. I said there are shlokas after that. Aho Dairyam Aho Rupam. After that, what did Hanuman say? Hanuman said, what prevents him from attaining the fullness of power is his adharma. He said, this man has not reached the fullness of his power because Indra is still ruling the Devaloka, because this fellow is adharmic. He is not following dharma. He does not employ all his powers to push righteousness causes to fruition. And by his continued effort of cruelty and unscrupulous use of power, he has made everybody his enemy. This is what happens in life, I am telling you. A person who has gone unmatta hai jata hai bhavati, he becomes really, too much of ahankar, he will manufacture his enemies. He will dig his grave. He don't need anybody. I mean, in Vyavahara it may look, yes, X did something to Y and all that. It was not X did Y. Y contracted all the other people by his own deeds. You have to be very careful about this. I mean, this is at the highest level, but don't tell me this principle is not useful in my family life, in my personal life. It is useful. The degree is only a matter of degree. Principle can never be wrong. That is the charm of Valmiki. The degree may be different. The principle cannot be wrong. It can apply to our family life. It can apply to our social life. All these will apply. The degree and the impact can be different. Correct? That's what Hanuman says in that sarga. So, what is stage 3? Moment this person starts walking on the path of wickedness, then he starts brick by brick his grave. And in Puranic style and Itihasa style, that means he will start collecting his curses. Like loyalty points, you collect curses. It's not loyalty point, it is all curses. We have to use today's words so that we can understand it much better. Na? Right? So many stories. Yeah, they are available only in Uttarakanda and Aranya, I mean, Yuddhakanda. Why did it come in Yuddhakanda? Because this man started losing strength. Then he says, is this Sita that lady? Is this Vanara? Once he went to Kailasha and did a mischief. And Nandi was trying to stop. He laughed at Nandi and ridiculed at Nandi. Then Nandi gave a curse. 60,000 Vanaras will come and finish your family. So each people were giving one after the other. This, Vedavati. Vedavati said, I will come and make your end. So in Yuddhakanda, he is thinking, is this Sita that Vedavati? No, his confidence is now going. He is slowly losing ground. He will not show it outside. He is destroyed inside. Rama has to only put a simple arrow finally. In some ways. He is destroyed. Nandi, Anaranya, Ramba, once, Ramba was going to meet, Nalakubera. This fellow, caught hold of her and raped her. This is his job all the time. Looks like. They're all there in Uttarakhanda. Right? He, always destroying the modesty of women. He will get everything back. Sanatana Dharma's charm is that it will all come back. Nothing can go anywhere. It will come back. Nothing can go anywhere because things can go away. It's an imperfect system actually. So it becomes an unsustainable system. A closed loop is a very sustainable system, not an open loop. So nothing can run away, I can tell you. Nothing can run away. Don't think so. No, others have not seen it, I can do it. Nobody has to see it. The karma has its own phala. Not because X saw it or Y saw it. All those are very low level thinking. We have developed high level thinking. Karma has its own phala. Punjikasthala, she went and complained to Brahma. And Brahma said, if you touch an unwilling woman, your head will blow to 100 pieces. So everybody gave him left, right, center curses. So he was ready for destruction now. This is what happens to any individual. An ego will walk him to the path of destruction. I mean, it may not be this degree and all that, but the message is no different. If we get too much of ego, we will just, people, I was hearing one of the pravachanas, very jokingly, he was saying that Ravana is sitting, all the learned sages were sitting, they were putting akshata to him, but inside their mind they were saying, when are you going to die? Jokingly was making that point. And that is the truth. Not Dirga Yushman Bhava. This is what happens to an individual who destroys himself and indulges in adharmic ways of doing things. That's what Valmiki is showing through this epic. So destruction has to begin. Stage 4, then you get into stage 4. It is inevitable now. The destruction has to happen. And the first step in the destruction is you should stop wise counseling. Vinasha kale viparita buddhihi. That's what they say, na? That viparita buddhi is first and the most unambiguous indication is don't listen to people. And in that there is order also. Don't listen to strangers, which is understandable. Don't listen to wise men, that is the second. Don't listen to your well-wishers. Don't listen to your family people. This is the order in which your destruction will start. This is how a person who is walking on the path of destruction will walk only like this. First he will stop listening to strangers, which at least I can grant. After all, stranger. The second layer is you don't listen to wise people. Whereas Taittiriya Upanishad says, Etatra Bhamana Asam Mashina. I quoted last time. Etate tatra varteran, tata tatra varteta. That's what Taittiriya Upanishad says. If you are in doubt, look at people. The great people. Aluksha dharmaka masyuhu. They will stay clear of everything without any passion, and with the truthfulness of dharma and the importance of dharma, they will be able to tell things. Look at such people. This man will stop. He will not look at such people. He will not look at his well-wishers. That is a very dangerous thing. When you stop looking at your well-wishers, you are in the path of destruction. It can be anything. It can be, I am getting into a new venture. I am trying to invest on something. You can apply it to anything. It's very important that's why they are called well-wishers. No? Should apply our mind, think twice and so on. People who are saying straight away I'll discard. I know everything. And why do we discard? Because I know everything. That is where the problem is. It's not that I hate or nothing like that. All these are coming because I know everything. Since I know everything, why should I ask? Why should I listen to people? So I will stop listening to well-wishers. And the most dangerous thing is you stop listening to your family. Family, your wife, your son, your daughter, your parents, minimum, come sick up. I am taking the first ring, first line. That also you stop. You will see all that in Ramayana. How this character walked into its own trap. Every one of us, if we get into some trouble, don't point to anybody. That's a message here. We did something, we created a situation, and they have come back to us. That is a larger meaning there. So, Maricha, that is that story in Janasthana, in Aranyakanda. Maricha, he calls Maricha and puts the plot. He says, this is what it is. I want to lift this girl and go. In fact, Srinivas Shastri says, this Sita is a tiny tot in front of Ravana, because Ravana, 1,000 years if he did yajna, now his age must be very, very, I'm not taking 1,000, but even if you divide it by, 10, 100, some 200, 300, whatever. Whereas this girl is hardly some, 30, 40, 20, under 20. So how bad this man has gone. So he comes and wants to lift. The plot is done. So that time Maricha says, two sargas are there. He says, don't do that. Not a good idea. Don't do that. And he talks how great Rama is at that time. In Janasthana itself, Maricha says, you don't know about this character. And you know what was the reply? I have not brought all those slokas because we are going to see anyway. You know what is the reply at that time? They are all Manushyas. Manushyas are good for nothing. This was his initial idea which destroyed him at the end. He always thought Manushyas are all useless characters. They are not worthless. They have no strength, nothing. What are you talking? There are some shlokas which I will bring it. Anyway, so Maricha says, Ramo Vigrahavan Dharmaha Sadhu Satya Parakramaha. What do you think about Rama? He is sadhu and Satya Parakrama. He will hold on to truth at any cost and go to any extent to do what needs to be done. You don't know about this character. That's what Maricha is saying. After all, he has tasted it in Balakanda. He didn't listen. He said, no, you do what I say. Then Maricha says, that shloka comes later. I have it. Maricha says, no, you don't do it. You will destroy the whole community. So many things he argued. He was in no mood to listen. People who are in no mood to listen in their lives are actually setting up their own trap for something wrong that is going to happen. They have no business to blame others. That's the message here, in some ways, for our day-to-day life. But these are very high-level things. I am talking about our day-to-day life. Grand uncle of Ravana also said Rama is divine. They pleaded in Yuddhakanda. When all these people made a bridge and came to the other side, they have morally won the Rakshasas because they made a bridge and came to the other side. That itself was a big blow. At that time, many people said, don't play around. I think it's not a good idea, leave it. Many were saying, his grand uncle is also one. Ravana dismissed the idea. And he said, the way he treats Valmiki, the way he put Rama in the lens of Ravana, he treated Rama like dirt. That's where he got destroyed. Because you don't see the power of people by how built they are. Strength of the people is not a Z category security. That is not, if you start seeing strength by Z category, we are in LKG of understanding certain things in life. That is not strength. Strength is inner character. Atma Vyaktitva Vishaya. So he was always treating him with, one or two shlokas I will show, but later we will see how one can cheat themselves out of righteousness and then land into trouble. That's what this story is telling us in some ways, actually. So he says, Jatayu. Again, Jatayu was trying to stop. Again, there is a nice set of conversation there. I have picked up two shlokas from there, Aranyakanda, 50th Sarga. Look at this shloka. Sashti Varsha Sahasrani Jatasya Mama Ravana. You may say you are 20,000 years, I am 60,000 years old. You are bacha in front of me. This is the first argument Jatayu made. You say 20,000, I am 60,000. Nothing, you are nothing. Your grey hair is nothing in front of my grey hair. That's what he is bringing there. He says, Sashti Varsha Sahasrani Jatasya Mama Ravana. Vriddoham Tom Yuva. You are a child in front of me. That's what Jatayu is saying. Vriddoham, I am a very elderly person, you are a bacha. Vriddoham Tom Yuva, then we Sashara Kavachi Shari. You may have all your protective gears and all that you may have, but you are still, you don't know life. Looks like. Right? Nachapi Adaya Kushali Vaidehim Nagamishyasi. I will not let you take Vaidehi and go. Not possible. Until my death. I will not meaning I will at no stage I will leave you. So he chopped all that happened. Right? Na shaktaha tum balad dhartum vaidehi mama pashyataha. From as long as I am able to see things happen, you cannot take her from me. I will not allow. Which means I will put my best efforts to make sure that you can't take. That's what Jatayu also actually says how you are playing with fire. Don't play with fire. That's what Jatayu said. He dismissed that. Vibhishana says, the list is long. I have only taken a few examples, but the message is destruction begins when we start ignoring our well-wishers, wise people, close family members. That's the story. Message here. Stage 5, destruction will become imminent. That person will see for himself. Others I don't have to show. Atma Anubhavaha Bhavati. I am on my way. Others don't have to say. You will see. It happened to him. You will find all these in Yuddhakanda. In Uttarakhand also there is. First thing is he completely got blindfolded by the emerging reality. because he thought Manushyas are useless. This is where his biggest problem was. He thought Manushyas can't do nothing. Look at here, he says, Trinabhuta hi manye pranino manushadaya. The same shloka which is there at that time. I brought that last line only here. And in Aranyakanda, Maricha is giving a reply. This is, I think, Jatayu, I think, 48th Sarga, so it must be Jatayu. Angulya nasamo Ramaha mama yuddhe samanusha. He is after all a Manushya. He is not even, I can, to my Anguli, he is not even equivalent of my finger. Look at how he is blindfolding himself. All his things are blindfolded now. That's how people get destroyed in the process. They don't need any outside agencies. They will do it themselves. So he says, Angulya na samaha Ramaha mama yuddhe. In 5, he cannot even be equivalent to my whatever. He hasn't mentioned any finger, so you take whatever finger, I'll take a little finger. Whatever. Okay? And then he says what he says. Because throughout Ravana's approach to Rama has been like this. You will see it in Sundarakanda and Yuddhakanda and a little bit in Uttarakanda. What he is saying, you just see. Yaha striyaha vachanat rajyam vihaya sa suhrujjanam. He is an idiotic fellow. Some lady said, some female said something, and because some female said something, he gave up his kingdom. He gave all his good people, his everybody, and then says asmin vyala anucharite vane vasati durmati. He is a person without no character and history. Because some lady something said, he gave up a kingdom and all these people, and he is in fact next shloka in Sundarakanda he says vane vasati va nava. He is feeding on a few, not even rice grains. He is feeding on something on the forest. He tells to Sita in the 19th Sarga of Sundarakanda, I don't even know whether he is living or not. So forget about him, marry me. So his approach was always, he thought he is a worthless character. And that became the trump card finally. That's where was his biggest surprise in life for this character called Ravana. Right? But he realized it very late. In Yuddhakanda, as you go 90th Sarga and all that, he is already destroyed. And look at his desperateness. Look at the events that happens in Yuddhakanda in the 90th Sarga around that time. Look at what all things he did. He lost hundreds of warriors, Indrajit, Kumbhakarna, everybody he lost. So he has actually lost the war, mentally. Then what did he do? Such a great hero and a warrior sort of a thing, did everything which a eunuch will do. He became unhero-like. 2 events. He ordered Sita to be taken in Pushpaka Vimana to see Rama dead, Nagastra. That time Trijada, you know what she says? Trijada says, don't worry. Pushpaka Vimana will never carry a widow. They are not dead, don't worry. They will get up. So he tried all dirty business on, he became desperate. You are seeing the desperation there. When you know you are on the verge of going, you become very desperate. You see it in politics also. Many places we see this. Right? This is what happens. When we are on a losing track, we will already, because of adharma I am treading there. Now I will make adharma even more my way of life. That means you are actually in the brink of your destruction. That's all it means to me. Because nobody can give up. Dharma is a very important purushartha to start artha and kama. That is a powerful message you will see in Mahabharata. That's why purusharthas are very well brought in Mahabharata and Ramayana and Mahabharata, of course. Informing Sita that Rama is dead, actually. And he made an attempt to kill Sita also. All that he tried. In the Yuddhakanda, these are the back scenes before he came back to the battlefield. There was a lull. Cinematically, if you want to portray this situation, there was a lull. Because he tried all these tricks. He became absolutely desperate. That's what happens to a person who is on the verge of destruction. The aftermath is always colossal. Colossal meaning, it depends on whether you are the head of the country, head of the family, the aftermath is directly proportional to that. But here we are talking about somebody who is a sort of an emperor. So the aftermath is colossal. Look at this shloka in Yuddhakanda. So nice. This is the signature of Valmiki. This is the stamp of Valmiki. Moment he tells a story, he will bring a Loka Dharma. I have seen it plenty. I am going to pick only those slokas. I am not going to go through all the sarkas because we don't have time for 24,000 slokas anyway. Look at a Loka Dharma here. What is he saying? He is saying, Eko hi kurute papa. One fellow does some mischief. This is Loka Dharma he is talking. It is not about Ramayana. It is not about Ravana. It is not about Rama. Please look at that. Eko hi kurute papaha. Kalapasha vashagataha. And that fellow is gone. He does all mischief and he is gone. Right? Nichena atma apacharena kulamtena vinashyati. He is a Nicha. Because of his bad thing, it's not that he only went whole kula nasha, sarva kula nasha bhavati. Completely the clan is destroyed. That's what happened in Mahabharata also. That's what happened in Ramayana also. That is the Loka Dharma. It is a moral of the story sort of a thing. Valmiki is known for it. Valmiki is known for it again and again. Sita and Lanka Dahanam. Next Sarga. First 4 shlokas, 5 shlokas. He says, what can happen if you have anger? Because Hanuman says, what a mistake did I do? I had so much of anger at these Rakshasa and Ravanas. I burnt the whole Lanka. I burnt Sita also. Immediately, Valmiki steps in there. He is not continuing with the story. He has 4 shlokas there. He says, what will happen with anger? He says, you will kill your guru. Avachyavadam. He says, you will talk all paurusham. You will give up your paurusha and then you will talk all bad things. Loka Dharma. This is signature of Valmiki. We cannot afford to miss Valmiki. We have to read it. Because he is not interested in the story. He is interested in lifting us somewhere. So he brings Loka Dharma every now and then. Maricha's advice to Ravana. Akurvantopi papani shuchayaha papasamshaya parapapaihi vinashyanti matsya naha grade yata. He gives an example. A snake gets into a freshwater lake, which is used by the village. A poisonous snake got into a freshwater lake. That's the source of water for the village. He says, people will not waste time. They will come, empty as much as required, get the snake and throw out. And Valmiki says, in the process, 1,000 good fishes will die. Matsyada, he says, Matsyaha. There's the word Matsyaha. He says, Parapapaihi vinashyanti. Matsya made no papa. Parapapaihi vinashyanti. X made a mistake, Y died. That's what happens in Mahabharata and Ramayana. Are you telling me all those soldiers and all those did nothing? They did nothing. They were good people. Mandodari was actually Sapta Kannika. One of them is Tara Mandodari Istata. She is one of the celebrated lady. She did no mistake. But she bearing the brunt of this nonsense. That's what Maricha is telling at that time. Don't do it. You don't know what are you doing. Not only you will go, lock, stock, barrel you will destroy. Parapapaihi vinashyanti matsya naha gride yata. Just like an attempt to catch a poisonous snake from a water body, you will actually a lot of snakes will die. You are attempting that. Be careful. He disregarded that advice. He said, no, I am not going to listen to you. You become a deer and then do what I want you to do. You are hell bent on it. Yeah? Bhagavaha sadavo loke yukta dharmam anushtitaha paresham aparadena vinashtaha saparichataha. Loka dharma. These two are Loka dharma. Right? He says, Bhagavaha sadava loke yuktaha dharma anushtitaha. A lot of people follow dharma. They are all there. But because of one fellow who happens to be in leadership position, all these people will go. That's what he is saying. That is an example. Here is a Loka dharma. He says, Paresham aparadena, because somebody did a mischief, vinashtaha saparichataha. They all will go. You are attempting that. You are going to be the cause of destroying so many people who have done nothing. So your act has serious consequences. Be careful about it. He won't listen. That means path of destruction. So this is a framework which is coming from this story. If you ask me, this is Loka Dharma for me. We can remove Ravana now. This is a Loka Dharma. If you develop enormous strength and along with that you also develop ego, you are in trouble. First part of the story. When I meant strength, I mean knowledge, I mean virya, tapas. Because the person who wants to do a high class, high category terrorist attack must have tapas. Without tapas, it is not. Tapas is that ekagrata, concentration. But that is an act of badness, not goodness. That's a different story. That's why where it is applied is different. Right? Then if you have that, you will be, anybody who has it will get into adharmic indulgence. Where the ego is the karana. It starts blindfolding, slowly it starts blindfolding. So one gets into adharmic indulgence, and moment you get into wrong things, people start cursing. So in movie they may show something they will put and something will come out of it. It doesn't mean any of those. It means your karma will come back to you. It's a very dramatic way of showing. Our children are all growing, seeing religious movies. Don't show any religious movies to any of the children. Because our idea of religion and God will completely go haywire. Because for us, Kailasha means first, smokes have to float. Somebody will be floating on the something. We develop, up to a point only it helps. After that, it creates a different thing. So curse does not mean what they show in movie. Curse means your karma will come back to you. Good karma will come back to you. Bad karma will definitely also come back to you. See, lot of people have a certain doubt. They think, in accounting terms, with the credit you can actually, do something about the debit. You can take a net. In Sanatana Dharma, net is not possible. For good things you'll get good. But good things will not be adjusted for bad and your bad balance will come down. No, all bad things you have to go through. You have to understand these principles. You cannot net it. People think I can do a lot of mischief and do a lot of dharma, then finally it will sort out. Net to net it will be positive. No, that means we have not read Sanatana Dharma. For all good things you will have holiday share, go to heaven. 3 days over, come back. Now you have only bad things with you, go through it. That's why karma is the curse. Curse is a very dramatic meaning. Our karma is what will make us. Our karma will manufacture our prarabdha, while prarabdha will manufacture our future body. This is the grand framework. We have to understand it. There's a very nice framework in our things. There's a sanchita karma, out of which gunny sack of karma. You take a handbag full of what is possible, and to eat away all that karmas which I have taken, the prarabdha karmas will manufacture a body which is very more suited to consume that away. That is our framework. We have to understand that framework very well. Then our incentive to do bad things will dramatically come down. Many clarity will come on many things in life. Anyway, so curses, destruction begins, early signs are ignored. Okay? Counseling, not listen to anyone, early signs are all ignored. Then destruction becomes imminent. Near the point of destruction, every Vyakti knows I have made a mistake, over. I may not say it outside, but I know. And then the aftermath is colossal. This is a life principle there. I have taken a bigger story, a character, and put all of them together. So in the Ramayana, as we go, we will pick for these small little things and keep on going. Accumulate our own understanding of what we should do in life. To me, Ramayana is meant for it, Mahabharata is meant for it. Story will use it just to keep going. But we'll pick these shlokas. Valmiki has a lot of loka dharmas, a lot of ideas to share. That's what we'll pick up and then go. So that's what we will do henceforth as we go along.